Welcome back to Em and Bug Talk Books. This is episode 3. I'm Em.
And I'm Bug.
And today we will be discussing The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah, which Bug pitched to me last time. And what a ride.
Yes, and it's been way too long because I have really had to hold back, right? Because I just am really wanting to be talking about this book. So we've just really been talking about it's hard when a long time goes in between, especially when you finish the book so fast. So
Yes.
I think it was kind of a grace, and I think most book clubs kind of do this as well. We give each other kind of the grace of this month time that you're going to read a book. But when it's a really, really good book,
yes,
or things are just hitting perfectly, you're through that book so fast.
Yes.
And
then there's 3 weeks before you come together to talk about it.
And so the visceral reaction, the emotion that this book gave. So I've kind of had to dig back in deep about how I was really feeling about this book. Mm-hmm. And I was really kind of on the fence about which book I wanted to pitch, but I just feel like it really sucked me in.
Yes, from pretty much page 1, you meet the protagonist and she's the growth from the start to the finish. You know, mm-hmm. She's very reserved. She has low self-worth. She has an abusive family that basically tells her oh, you're not pretty as your sister. You're not smart. You're not clever. You're sickly. You're not going to amount to anything, basically. Mm-hmm. And immediately I'm like, excuse you.
Exactly. You want to stand up for the character, right? Yes. Because they really do pull you in so much, understanding where she's at and why she's there, but she still does something completely and totally unexpected.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And especially for that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It was insane. So,
a red dress.
Yes.
I'm just going to say that.
Yes. Yes. That red dress.
Yes.
That darn red dress.
Yeah. Snuck out of the house.
Met a boy.
Yeah. Which is it's completely unlike her character. But I think you don't realize it at the time, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're learning about her, as you've described, somebody who is very closed off within herself. I mean, she's basically been pushed down, right? And like you said, just the self-value and everything. But yet you do see the spark early. Mm-hmm. You don't really know it because you don't know how the book is going to end up.
Yes.
But just reflecting back, as you always really make me go deeper in my thoughts about the book. And I'm like, actually, it was a little spark of what was to come.
Yes.
In that she did have that inner strength and she may step out and do the unexpected.
Yes. Yes. So from there we progress and she meets the boy.
Yes. Yes. So visceral anger. How were you feeling about it?
One character that I could just reach into a book and just.
Yeah. But they make you kind of, I don't know, did they make us like him at first?
Yes.
They did, yes. Right? So you're kind of liking because he saw her, I kind of felt like he saw her for who she was, the beautiful person that she was. She's definitely more than skin deep, but we kind of learned that just because you may, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, mm-hmm. and everyone doesn't have to fit a particular mold to be beautiful. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like he was the first person that kind of loved her, mm-hmm. and boy did he, mm-hmm. So they made you, I feel kind of like him at first.
My read on him as a kid when we first meet him, because I believe mm-hmm. he's 18 years old.
Yes.
Also, remind me the protagonist's first name.
Elsa.
Yes.
Else. And he called her Else for short, and so it was Elsinore.
That's her full name. Yes, that's what I thought.
But Elsinore, Elsa, and then he short called her Else.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I'll just stick with Else because that was super cute. I like that. And then he's Rafe. We'll never forget that name.
I don't want to ever. Well, okay. I'm not going to say that because there may be somebody out there who's named Rafe, which was short for Raphael.
Yes.
So if I meet a Raphael, I'm going to have to call you Raphael because now I have a visceral response to Rafe.
Yes.
Because
he was not. In Ninja Turtles, it's Raph. It's not Rafe. It's Raph.
Good.
So the Ninja Turtles are fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So all the Raphaels out there,
yes.
we have saved.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We have an alternative here.
No shade. No shade.
So my read on Rafe, when we first meet him as a very young man, barely an adult, is he was able to see her fire, but he was not able to handle it when it came out during times of hardship. He couldn't meet that when it mattered.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's
So
pretty deep.
I do think that he loved her. I think he loved their kids because they have a shotgun wedding because of things. Things that happen.
He really did love her.
Yes.
As the way he spoke of it.
Yes.
So
they have a shotgun wedding. She gets disowned by her abusive family. Good riddance to bad rubbish. We never have to see or deal with them again. Exactly. And then they start their life together. And his family, I don't know how he turned out the way he did, because his parents, I loved them.
Yes. Through to the very end.
Yes.
And even though there's a gap.
Yes.
You do get back to the parents, and they were the strength.
Yes.
And I think the mother, initially, she was really fighting for Rafe, of course, like you would for your son.
Yes, 18, about to go to college.
Yeah, he's 18, so his life takes an unexpected turn.
Yes.
And, but in the end, she really does kind of maybe denounce him, so to speak, right?
Yes.
And so she basically takes Elsa in as her beloved daughter, right? So it's also the first people that, aside from Rafe, because like you said, I do believe that he didn't have ill intent at the beginning. And like you said, I think that he just had a weakness, that he was just, he ran, basically.
Yeah.
But the family was true strength and true love, and they really gave her the family that she didn't have.
Yes. So this is based in Texas. And when it starts...
Which is why I wanted to pitch the book.
Yes. When it starts, it's just before the Dust Bowl, about 10, 13 years before the Dust Bowl. So we start, Elsa meets Rafe, shotgun wedding, all that kind of fun stuff. Well, then the book jumps forward about 12 years because the product of that shotgun wedding, Lolo, is roughly 12 years old whenever the book jumps forward and you meet her. And she is a daddy's girl. Through and through, to the point of being, as she puts it, quite a crumb to her mother. So it starts out full daddy's girl. Mom ruins everything. Like, oh my gosh, I want to be like dad. Like, we should go west. This Dust Bowl's terrible. Which, granted, she's 12. Like,
I know.
The Dust Bowl was
still
awful.
a hard time to see Elsa go through, because by this time you are really, you really bought into her. I mean, you're beginning to feel for her.
Yeah.
You're beginning to feel for her, and so like why they're in that, like even why their lives are where they are right now. Like, it takes two to tango, and all of that. Right. But it almost kind of frustrated me at times, but I guess it was a good example of kind of a testy teenager kind of thing. Yes. And he was a dreamer. He was a huge dreamer.
Yes.
And so he really was able to fill her with those dreams. Yes. Whereas Elsa was very reality. It had already come to her hard. And so although she had a lot of ambition and strength to persevere, she didn't really spend a lot of time, I'll say, dreaming like he did. Right. And so, they were also going through a tough time. So to think of, wow, the grass is just so much greener over here, just the child really bought into that.
Yeah. As one would, especially at that age when,
you're dreaming too.
You're dreaming too. You're realizing that your world is bigger than just what you can see around you, and the Dust Bowl's happening. And, she doesn't connect with her mother because her mother is very grounded in reality. And then she would be seeking escape from reality. And instead of backing Elsa up, Rafe feeds into that because he needs the emotional validation.
Which is when I begin to feel mad at him, because I feel like he's not being really supportive of her. Yeah. Because again, instead of dealing, I don't know, with this hardship in a more positive manner, I feel like by him kind of filling their daughter with a lot of dreamer ideas, really, it does nothing but enforce the pit or the gap in between the mother and the daughter. Right. He's also drinking a lot at this time too. Yes. And so I think it's really interesting how when you love someone, sometimes it's really hard to see their flaws. Right. And so I think that, the daughter is stuck in the middle. Like, you're a child, who do you want? Someone who's talking about great, grandiose, possible life opportunities, or someone who says, hey, you got to work hard and clean the grit, and so again, you're going to go with what you're thinking could possibly be happiness.
Of course. Yes. And that's natural. And what was the biggest irony to me is because what ends up happening, because Elsa has soul bonded with her in-laws. She has become a farm wife. She is bound to that land.
She is loyal.
She is loyal. She's hardworking. She gets it done. And essentially, like, the parents have switched sides at this point. They're like, oh, our worthless layabout son, you were the best thing that's ever happened to him, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so he comes to her, and the dream is to go to California because there's work in California. There's no drought in California, so forth and so on. And Elsa's initial reaction is, we can't. Like, we wouldn't be able to take your parents. Our home is here. Like, the government had at this point started their programming to, like, rehabilitate the land. And we're like, we're hopeful. Like, we have to stay. We can't go.
Yeah.
And that precipitates Rafe bounding off in the middle of the night, telling nobody, and never coming back.
Yeah, which was absolutely shocking.
Yes.
And when she wakes up to go look for him, I think we had even talked about this just a little bit. You are concerned that maybe he has done something to himself, right?
Permanent solution to temporary problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So you really do, you realize not devastating state, but like the depression that he's in, right? Because they're really showing you how he is really dealing with this hardship through just drinking, and he's not really even participating in life with anybody anymore.
He gave up.
You know? Yeah, he completely and totally gave up.
Yes.
Yeah, he just did not have the drive to go. The other thing that really stuck out during that time too, just the hardship, like the boy didn't even have shoes at that time.
Anthony,
if you remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're like, how do you even get gas? We don't even have shoes to even walk out of here. And so there was a lot of things. Again, I just think that she was very realistic. She thought things through.
Yes.
And that's just the difference between somebody who is really thinking things through and somebody who has given up, but yet still dreaming, but not taking one step towards what that could even possibly, like, how could you even possibly achieve that?
I feel like the dreaming was similar symbolically to his drinking, because it doesn't solve anything. It just makes him feel better in the moment. And he never took any action to move past it and actually make the dreams happen.
Yeah.
And the irony of it is Els and the two kids do end up going to California, because the younger boy, Anthony, he ends up getting, what do they call it, black pneumonia?
Or dust pneumonia or black pneumonia. Yeah, something like that.
Because the black dust would come in.
Yes.
Because entire layers of topsoil. And I didn't know this about the depression.
This is, okay, so let's just take a segue. The Kristin Hannah books that I have read, I found that two things. One, historical fiction. So you are learning about a time that you didn't know about. And so to me, it was totally cool. So it was something that happened in Texas. I thought that was totally interesting, that would really get us. And how do I know nothing about the Dust Bowl? I don't know, you know? And so the other books as well, I think we talked about them when we pitched, but again, historical fiction, which I have found very interesting, and then the strong female character are things that really drew me in. So so you learn a lot about that time that I really didn't know about. And she chose to go because, not for herself and, you know, a grandiose dream and idea, and she thought things were going to be better.
But because it was practical and they had to.
Yeah, exactly. She had to choose a choice. Yeah, she had to make a choice at that time. And it was either stay and see her child die, and in reading West with Giraffes as well, you really hear a lot about that many people who stayed died. And so at a point, people then begin to have to leave the area because it became life or death.
Yes. Two things. One, on the strong female protagonist. I love that Elsinore was strong, and she was actually strong. She was strong. She was resilient. She was capable, and not just was unable to communicate her emotions and stubborn, which I feel like was a lot of what we see with strong female characters. It's like,
that's a good point. Yeah, like this is really one that is inspiring, and like, you draw a little lot from it. She was tough
as boot leather, and she didn't think she was. She was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm figuring this out. I'm pressing forward, even though I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But what made me ugly cry, and when the parents didn't go with them.
Oh yeah,
because initially the entire family was going to go. The entire family was going to go. The in-laws were like, okay, like, we have to go. Like, Aunt's going to die. We have no choice. But then when it came down to it, they realized that because of their advanced age, they were going to, again, very based in practicality and reality, it was going to make it that much harder for them to go and figure out what to do with two people who couldn't contribute as much as they would had they been younger people.
Right.
And that broke me.
Mm-hmm. That was hard.
I'm sitting there,
and it's to the point where, like, I feel
about it.
Yeah, I feel like they were just even getting in the cart, right? And it's like, well, wait, where are you going? Like, it was very kind of last minute.
Yep.
So up until that time, you feel like they are going together.
Yes,
every piece of you feels like they were, because Elsa definitely never wanted to leave them behind.
No, like, she had soul bonded with them. Like, that was her family. Not Rafe, not her biological parents and sister, not the ones that refused to see her anymore. Rosa and I don't remember her.
I know. I'm like, where is the book? I should have it handy.
Right. But yes.
Okay, we'll think about
Rosa
it.
and Dad.
There you go.
Dad.
Rosa and Dad.
Like, they were her family, and that broke my heart, because I think that they knew that even with as resilient as she was, she still hadn't found standing alone.
Yeah.
Like, it had been either she was being pushed down by her family, and then she found Rafe, and then she found them, and she was absolutely loyal and could stand with them, but she hadn't quite found the standing on her own.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they kind of planned that all along. They're like, we need to go. Aunt's gonna die. Or maybe they didn't. Maybe they were like, maybe they kind of discussed it later. They're like, well, something has to change.
Right.
But then that quiet, just like, we're not getting in the car. Like, everything's ready. All you got to do is just drive away.
Yeah.
But, like,
which is
not
them
coming.
Not making the situation any harder than it needed to be, right? Because
Yes.
then you're ready to go. And I think it would not have been good in the story to add that in. I think it gut punches you.
It does. Because you think, as the reader, that they're coming too.
Yeah.
Like, they're
so it really gut
they're
punches
her family.
you. And then, you point out a good thing, or a point in the story that, might not have really realized. But the way the book that plays out is, it's all about Elsa really finding herself and her own strength. And so she's already learned how strong she can be, and she has continued to be strong through this situation.
Yeah.
However, now she's on her own, and she has to be strong on her own. So it's like it's a whole nother level of strength and growth. And so it has to be, like, the story has to go that way, right? In order for Elsa to realize her potential. Yeah. The other thing too is, we have seen the family as just such an anchor for her. Yeah. And they remain an anchor. And they're still an anchor at the very end of the story. Yes.
And also, at this point, we start having chapters from Lolo's perspective too. And at this point, she has, and it's frustratingly long process, but she does go through it, and it would be frustratingly long. Yeah. Of really dissecting and dealing with the fact that her dad was not a solid person. He was a coward. And she has to wrestle with the fact that she's been horrible to her mother for years. And she's like, did he really leave? Like, is he gone? Like, and all the adults in her family are like, unfortunately, yes, he doesn't want to be found.
And for her to deal with that, as she's going through this process, to her father left her mother. Yes. Right? And so I think part of her growing and coming to grips with it, and it is really hard. And I think it's kind of great that we stepped into a different perspective, and because we needed to understand her, because she was just being rotten. Yes. So we needed to really understand the feelings and the emotions that came to her. And I think part of that was realizing, coming to grips that her father didn't just leave her mother. He left them all. Yes. Which I think is also just a real gut punch to her, as she has to really come to grips and acceptance with that.
Yes. And it's so good. Like I said, it takes a frustratingly long time, because I think it's not until roughly the end of the book, which is, I think it's about 2 years later, because
she's constantly pushing
ish. I mean, she's a teenager.
Yeah.
In the Dust Bowl, and then in California being treated. And now we move to the second part of the story. Although, no, I have to bring up one thing that Lolo did that I was like, okay, I can give this character a chance. Okay. When they are on the road and they are leaving, they're naive, they're fresh, they haven't encountered, any bad ill intent on the road or anything. But obviously they do. they're a mom and two teenager and a young child, traveling solo. And there's a part where a guy comes and tries to steal their gas. And Els is like, no, you can't. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, I have kids. And he's like, we all have kids, lady. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not your gas. What are you doing? She had it first. It's hers. But anyway, so they get into a bit of a kerfuffle, and obviously, he's a dude, and she's like, what do I do? And so he's, attacking her. And then you hear the shotgun. Yeah. And and they turn, and the dude's like, oh, so it's 12-year-old Lolo with this shotgun being like, no.
Yeah, protecting her mother, which is really great.
Yes. And one of my favorite things is the fact that the guy's initially like, oh, she's bluffing. He's like, you're not going to shoot me. And she's like, mister, I can manage to shoot doves that haven't done anything to us. I don't mind shooting you. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, you're like, okay, she's rotten as hell, but like, I can see potential. Like, she might have some of her mom's spark. Yeah. So, and you end up seeing that she does. Like, she has metal, she has spark, but she has the action to go along with her dreams. That's true. So I enjoyed the painstakingly long growth of Lolo in the story. So here they're heading out to California, which was ironic because, Rafe left because they were like, I want to go to California.
And you never know what happened to him.
Nope. And I don't care.
And you're like, I don't even want to know. You never really, they're kind of like, he chose to leave, and so he's gone. Yeah. And I think it does take them a while for them to stop looking for him or thinking that they may find, so I still feel like there's little sparks of him here and there where they're just kind of reminded, because they literally have gone to where he's gone.
Where they think he's gone.
Where they think he's gone. That's right. I mean, they're assuming that they're going there. And I think the thing that really broke my heart, again, not really knowing about the history of this period of time, was they left one hardship to go into another hardship. Yes. And after a while, I just felt like, oh my gosh, like, what else, could happen?
So they go, and they're in one of the tent encampments because no one will rent to Okies. They are from Texas. That is something that they reiterate. So I didn't realize that, Okies was basically used as a slur for all of the people who were migrating away from this natural disaster. People who had businesses and farms and homes and lives, and they were just treated as if they were, nothing.
Yeah, which really just made me, that part began to make me angry.
Yes.
The way that one person will treat another. And these people that were moving, they were moving because of hardship, and they came from something.
Yeah.
Not like somebody who comes from nothing should be treated ill-treated. Like, we just shouldn't treat each other that way. But it was very interesting because they treated them very badly, as if they had come from nothing. But what it was total hardship. Yeah. And hardship can hit anybody at any time.
And I mean, we see this a lot today. It's just that propaganda piece where it's like, this is another person. They're other. They're different from us.
Yes.
Whereas it's like, they're people. It's like, yes,
they're people. They're Americans. They're, So it was just very interesting. And to me, it was just so frustrating to learn about that part of history, to see how we as Americans were treating each other as Americans. And it was interesting too, because they talked a little bit about the migrants that had come in through Mexico and how they had been treating them. So it was almost like they traded that labor for this new labor.
Yep.
And then they treated them just as equally as bad, when treating anybody that bad is just not okay.
Right.
So it really was frustrating to read that.
It really was. It really was. And just seeing so many mirrors in how people are treated today, it's like the more things change.
Yeah.
So it was very,
it's realistic.
It was.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what's that piece? Yeah. That piece makes you sad.
And then they finally moved from there.
Yes, we'll still do that.
Into the company town.
Yes. Yeah. So that got me good. So before we go to the company town, the family that she met.
Oh, yes. Oh, I loved them. The ones that were next door. They were next door neighbors. It was as if they had, houses and the white picket fence, and the kids played in the yard, and they got to know each other, and they sat with each other through the confusion and the grief and the loss and the hardship. I loved that relationship that they had.
Yes.
You know, I think that really helped Lolo too, because initially she was like, we don't want to live
she
in
didn't want to be there.
this camp with these people. Like, this isn't where people like us live. And, you know, sorry, sweetheart. Like, yes, like that's what's being done. Like, none of y'all deserve it. Like, even if you are able to get one of the houses to be rent to you, like, no, like, this is, it's injustice. And that's,
which she also really had to come to grips to realize.
Yes.
And so I did think that, they didn't want to be in this encampment like anybody wanted to be there. Again, people were coming from hardship. You had to do what you had to do. And so that's where they were able to be. And then it was just so frustrating because you hear about just trying to break the cycle, right? And so it was just like near impossible to break that cycle and get out of that scenario.
And honestly, I think that was by design so that the corporations could still have cheap labor.
Oh, it absolutely was. Yes, which was another thing that made me so mad. The family that they met, they really bonded, right, and became friends. And so then there was the healthcare issue, like they couldn't get healthcare, like people wouldn't want to treat them. And so now we have laws because of that. So I think because of these instances or scenarios that happen where someone would go to the emergency room and not be able to be treated and helped. And that made me so mad. Yes. That made me so mad. And then, yes, you kind of felt like there were fat cats, and they were just purposely just the way they were running those company stores. I mean, when I got to that part, it was just making me so mad. Yes. And then you kind of understand, because then you started getting into unions and things like that. And so
the dirty communists.
Yeah. Yes. And so again, I just think that's great historical fiction because you're kind of seeing, maybe learning where things come from. So again, I think that's the other thing that I really do love about these stories with historical fiction is I'm learning. It makes you think about things. And then like, I feel like EMTALA laws came from that, which is if somebody shows up at an emergency room, no matter who you are, what you look like, what you come from, whatever, like you have to be treated.
Yes.
You know, people can't turn you away from the emergency doors. And then you see this emergence of unions. However, what other choice did they have? They had to collectively come together.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of, I guess it's kind of probably depends on who is telling you about unions.
Yes.
But there's a lot of negative connotation. Like some people are supportive and some people are absolutely against it. But now you're kind of understanding maybe why they even came around in the first place. And that was literally because these people were in this cycle. And the fat cat, so to speak, was going to make sure that you did not get out of that cycle. You were constantly going to be indebted to them. And that just made me so mad too. And again, this is in America that we are doing this to each other.
Yes.
You know?
And one thing that I really felt like, because it did, the focus of the story was more on the relational, you know, the mom and daughter specifically, and then the people that they interacted with and came to care for. But I think that if you actually went and read more on, you know, how the people in encampments were treated and how the people in company towns were treated, you're going to get far more gnarly, commonplace instances of various types of abuse. You know, because when you have that level of complete control over like a population that lives in your town, it's basically like a little fiefdom, you know, indentured servitude. And like you're, especially like as a single mom with 2 kids,
which she lied to say because they weren't even going to let her live there.
They weren't even going to let her live there as
you had to be the traditional husband, wife, you know.
Right. And so she was just like low-key, oh yeah, my husband's coming later, because she never divorced Rafe, like, but abandonment, whatever.
So let's talk about how she even got there, how she even found out about that.
Yes. So I was going to say, while we're introducing like the dirty communists and unions and everything else, we introduce Jack.
Yes.
So
who we don't even know if we can trust at first.
No.
Because he's kind of a criminal.
Our first introduction
by their definition.
Our first introduction to him is when Lolo has just like, it's gotten to her, like it's too much. She's being mistreated at school. She's being mistreated at work.
Which is so horrible,
they
right?
Can't get
the kids are even being mistreated.
Like, it's horrible. And so she is just like, I'm done, and like runs off. And I think her mom's like, well, if you're done, just go. And like, it's one of the only times that it really comes to a head. And so I was really invested at that part because they mostly just kind of like talk around or not talk at all the issues that they're going into. But then like Lolo, as she's going down the road, she's like, oh, Mom's right.
Yeah.
I'm right too, but like Mom's also right. Like we have to balance reality with, you know, how things should be. And oh my gosh, I've never related more. Like I have a strong sense of being like, this is stupid. Why are we functioning XYZ like, you know, like this? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You can't change those systems all in one go, and you have to find a way to survive within them. And for Els, it's taking care of her kids. It's not just herself. And for Lolo, she's 13, 14 at this point. She's all fired up. She's like, no, like, let's do it. And so, like, I get that. So she's taken off and she's heading off. And then she's turning around and she's coming back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And that's when we meet Jack, because he's like, I have to make a little stop. Like, I will take you home. Which I'm like, geez, girl, are you getting into the car with us? Like, 30-something, or no, he was like late 20s. It's like a late 20-something as a 14-year-old.
Still, you're walking down a road at night, and somebody pulls over in a truck.
And you're like, yes, please, I will get a ride. And then, but it does kind of like dance on that a little bit. She's like, I just realized, you know, it's the first moment she's realizing that this could go sideways.
Yeah, like maybe this is dangerous. Maybe I've made not a wise decision.
Which, low-key, yes, but 14, I'll let it slide. So he's like, yes, I'll take you back to the encampment, because she somehow managed to get way the hell far away. Like I did kind of wonder about the math here. I'm like, okay, so this is a distance she was able to run. But like getting back is so far. Like she needs a ride.
Yeah, whatever. Like how far could she have gone on foot?
Did you hop on a train and go further? Oh, anyway, math doesn't exist in this scenario. So she needs
don't
a ride.
Bring logic into this.
Yes, she needs a ride. Jack gives her a ride. He's like, but I gotta make a stop first. And the stop is the illicit Communist Party meeting. And they kept saying like communism, but it's literally just unions.
I know.
That's all they were advocating for was unions.
So I think communism is when I think people just throw that name whenever you're, I don't know, fighting against the government. I guess having a different stance, because I was like, oh, okay, so we called them communists? Really?
Right.
Okay.
And like literally they were just like, we need to unionize so that they can stop stealing our labor and forcing us further and further into debt, which, you know, people probably did call them communists for that. But again, that's that propaganda piece. It's the exact same thing and reason for being like, oh, these Okies are less than, like, but yes, we're going to pay them poverty wages and like exploit their labor, because if they are treated fairly, we make less money. So of course we're gonna, you know.
Yeah. But yet they're making so much money, which just makes me so mad.
No.
Yeah, it's like you could have really treated these people fairly, gave them good work with a decent wage so they could live a decent life. And
still make money.
And still make money, and they're still going to stay there and work for you.
Yes.
And of course, Rafe is very involved in this because of his own Jack. Sorry. Oh, what a crazy thing. Jack was, you know, definitely supportive of this movement, because his own family had been negatively affected, right?
Jack was what Rafe could have been if he'd had the spine to take action.
Yes.
Now, do I think he would have worked toward collective good? I don't know, but he at least could have worked toward his family's collective good.
Yeah. So
that like their story and their struggle in California would have been so much less, and the pressure on Els would not have had to shift onto Lolo. She could have had more of a normal upbringing. Wouldn't have been nearly as hard.
Right.
And so
if he had stayed around, and then that could have been the way that he, you know, the opportunity.
Right.
And so again, you see how another man who has been negatively affected by everything that's gone on, how he chose to stay, to stand, to fight, as opposed to the other example where basically just wallowed in it and then ran.
Yes.
You know, instead of taking on that responsibility.
So our 14-year-old, very frustrated dreamer with a balance of reality, Lolo, gets her first introduction to social justice. And of course, immediately just like, this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What first meeting and she was already
in.
You know.
She was like,
and we
Primo
don't
fan
even know if we
number
can
one.
trust Jack at that time.
We do not know because it's our first intro. I think at that point I kind of got the vibe because, you know, he does not have ill intent. He does take her home.
And he picked her up with the guise of, this isn't safe for you out here.
Yes.
I'm going to take you back to where you are safe. I'm just on my way somewhere. You have to come here with me first.
Yes. After
stay in the truck,
where it will
like
be
she
safe.
was ever going to follow any instruction.
But like he doesn't know her either at this point. He's just like, oh my gosh, this dumb kid. Like I gotta get her off the street so she's not fine, but I still gotta go do this. So it was again that balance of being like, okay, this is the reality. I've got this kid who's in danger here. I need to deal with this, but also like I have responsibilities I have over here. So we're going to do our best to make this work. And then, so, you know, she gets enthralled and she's all excited, doesn't want to stay in the car. And she's just like, yes, this is it. This is the end all be all, which no movement is the end all be all, but like, don't get me wrong. They needed to do something.
She wanted to do something. Yeah. She was definitely had that fight that Elsa had. It's just in Elsa's upbringing, she was pushed down and stepped on and made to feel very small.
Yes.
Where she had not really gone through that. So her fight and her spunk and her fire were always very much at the forefront of her personality, her way of being.
Yes. And so meeting ends, Jack takes her home and he meets Els. And similar to when she first interacts with Rafe, he sees the fire, he sees the spark, he sees her resilience. He also sees her beauty because he's like, and that was one thing that I absolutely loved. And she's just like, oh, I know I'm not much to look. This is later. I'm jumping ahead. Whatever. I know I'm not much to look at. And he's like, are you crazy? You're the prettiest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. Which I love that. So just kind of a flavor of like how he reacted. Like he's just kind of like Lola was when she saw like communism. That's how Jack reacted when he saw Els. He was just like,
into her.
Yes.
And I do like that too, because he gives her the validation. Not that she was looking for the validation, but he does see her as beautiful. And I do feel like he just immediately is into her. And then her friend in the camp too also was like, you know, you're beautiful. So as we begin to see her grow, we also see more people tell her and kind of validate for her. Again, I don't think she was looking for that validation, but they are still validating that you are beautiful, you are strong, you are so much more than you think you are.
Yeah.
You know, but she never felt that. And because she didn't have people telling her that.
Right. And this is where, at this point, whenever we introduce Jack and the communism and everything else, this is where my critique of the book comes in.
Okay. And this also made me very mad, but okay, you just go on.
So I think so I'll give a little synopsis of like from here to the end before the big thing that happens.
Okay.
So there's a flood in the encampment. They got to find a new place to live. Jack helps them get into the company town because he's like, at least it's a cabin, it's a roof. It's a terrible situation. Don't get me wrong, but you'll have work and you'll have access to the company store. It'll be a vicious cycle, but you'll be safe.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for at this point. So they move into the company town. They're working. They get caught up in the cycle they can't get out of. And then she goes and she's finally qualifies for government assistance after being in California a year. They had to wait a year before getting any kind of help. And then this is what pissed me off the most. Just the singular most thing that as far as like things that happen in the book, she finally gets that money and she goes to the company store and she's like, I have money. I can start paying this down. And they're like, we only take company credits.
I know. Yeah.
Ooh, and I know it's by design. And did you know that some people are trying to build company towns again? That's trying to come back.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was just so maddening because, and even then it was like, when you got your check, it was just a piece of paper that you then had to take to the company store.
It was Monopoly money.
That you could only cash in at the Monopoly store. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, we're going to take 10% of your money.
Yeah.
Because you're using it here, but you're only ever in debt. And so, yeah, it was just maddening. So really, there is no way to ever get out of that situation. Yeah. I feel like the only way you could ever get out of that situation is leave under the cover of darkness.
Yeah.
And just disappear. Because they made it to where, you never even earned money that you could take
Yep.
to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So they really do have you stuck. I mean, yeah, it was like Monopoly money.
And then
So that's when I was like, oh my God, again, there was just so much madness in the story.
Then the owner lobbied the state of California to make it where these folks would not qualify for government assistance if they were working in the company town. So that way they couldn't even like build up a savings so that they could get away.
Exactly.
Crazy. Yeah. Made me so mad.
All in my mind so that a small number of people could get richer.
Yes. We also have our first trillionaire in the world now.
Yeah. And to me, it's just devastating. Yeah.
And it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing over again, just wrapped in a modern wrapper.
Exactly. Yeah. So I thought it was just so insightful because I took so much of that. And to me, it was eye-opening, this book.
Yeah.
I mean, going through this bit of history and then just seeing how people were treated. But one thing that it really made you become more acutely aware of is kind of that kind of debt work cycle, the people that are profiting from it. And I feel like, I mean, we can't deny that we're in a society that is very much built on just, you know, like trying to build wealth and trying to build money. And I just doesn't make any sense, though, why they had to squelch the worker so much. I mean, again, I just don't think it was necessary, but it was done just so that they would, like, they couldn't even fathom losing a penny or 2 pennies or, you know.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was just really, really maddening. And again, I just felt like one brick wall after another for not just Elsa and her story, because that personalizes the story so that we can see one person going through and how it's affecting her life and those that are in her life.
Yeah.
But like a whole group of people went through. So to me, it just kind of opened up my eyes, I think, just a little bit into how our economy and our society works,
how it functions,
you know,
how we've gotten some of the rules and regulations we have today, and then we see some of those being rolled back, and it is very, very relevant.
It is, strangely enough, right? And so they do say like history repeats itself, and it was just very eye-opening, and it just kind of changes your mind. And so when you're hearing things, I think that this almost makes me think about, well, who's saying it to you and what is their intent?
What is their background? What is their background?
What is their intent? What is their position? Where are they coming from? And and then you also then just realize it is very hard, even today, for people to get out of a particular cycle that they're in. And I just think because we don't really make it easy. And I say we, just like our country, our economy, our society.
The way
it's not just America, but
I'm sure,
you know, it's
just what we know.
It's just the world. I just feel like it's that. So it was just, I just appreciated how much I learned from that. But it did make me mad.
So my critique, I have two critiques. One, I was just so upset at the end. But I feel like, so once you introduce Jack and the unions and everything else, you've only got like that much of the book left.
That's true.
It moves by very fast. And I felt like that it kind of went too quickly for me to fully get invested. I mean, I liked Jack, don't get me wrong. I was like, oh, I see a future here. But I felt like they fell in love very quickly. I felt like it was like, just like boom, immediate. And I'm like, wait now, like we just met this guy. Like we have a history.
You don't even know if we can trust him.
Exactly. We have a history of being abandoned by men, which would, you'd think, make us a little bit like walled off. And I feel like she kind of dealt with that a little bit, but it was overcome very quickly, like in an afternoon.
We spent more time with the Rafe relationship, I think, than we did with the Jack relationship. And maybe if that was either more balanced or a little less there, I mean, just again, I can definitely appreciate that. I mean, we know I mean, we were learning so much about things that were making Elsa like she was, but we did spend a lot of time on that. And then I will agree, it does kind of fast forward when you get to the end of the book, like things really start to happen quickly.
Really start to happen. So you meet Jack, the flood happens, they move into the company town, and then Lolo's like, okay, like, this is ridiculous. We're never going to get out of this. We need to, like, listen to Jack and do what they're doing, because this is, like, we're just going to be stuck here forever. This is the Camp 2.0. And
I was very happy, though, that she did finally find love.
Yes.
However, I do agree with you, though.
Yeah. It just moved on too quickly. And then they do the strike, right? And that's why they have to leave the company town.
Yes.
So finally, Elsa's like, yes, I agree. We have to do something, but what on earth's going to happen if we strike? They're just going to kick us out, and then what do we do? You know, where do we live then? And you know, that's again the threat of homelessness in a capitalist system. But you know,
which is why you can take advantage of people when they're in vulnerable situations. Exactly.
So eventually, Lolo's like, "Mom, I'm gonna be involved in this, whether you want me to or not. You can't keep it. You can't sit on me 24/7. Like I'm 14 years old. Like be so for real." And finally, Elsa's
14 back then is not like 14 now.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, she had been
like 21. You're like an old maid back in those times.
So much, even at 14, she was out in the cotton fields every day. Hell, they had to pull Anthony into the cotton fields to just try and not fall in debt so fast.
Which
you know, was like 7.
Yes. So then I thought it was very insightful too, because then you're learning about the migrant workers. And the only like even connection or understanding that I would have with that was when they send the papers home at the beginning of the school year, and you fill out that piece of paper, right? Like if you're moving around, if you're in different places, and you know, obviously they're also seeing like if you're qualifying for the school lunch, you know, or something like that program. So it just brought a little bit more to that. I did think it was sad that in the end, the last thing Elsa wanted to do was have her children now go into labor work. However, it got to the point where they just weren't able to do it. So I think it was, you just learned a lot about the migrant workers. I think this book does make you think about things a lot differently, or just a little bit deeper than you had ever thought about them prior.
And so, I feel like we're both kind of dancing around what actually happens like at the end.
He's devastated.
So I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. So strike happens. Elsa's like, okay, fine. I don't agree with this. Lolo, yes, you're going to get involved. I'm going to come with you. Make sure you're safe. We're not taking Aunt anywhere near this. And then they start doing the strike, and the company is basically like, everyone get out. And so everyone who's participated gets kicked out of the fields, the houses and the fields, and they can't go back. And then they move into the hotel. It's abandoned. But in actuality, it is basically like HQ for Jack and the other unionizers. And so they get there, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a relief. They have like actual care and comfort and resources, and that lasted all of 2 pages.
That is true. I don't know if it hit me like that, but you are right. Like we spent a lot of time moving through this whole journey, and you're like, the whole journey was this long, right? And then all of a sudden, you're right, it's like slammed in at the very end, and you're like, well, I know I'm about at the end of this book, so then what? And so the last half of the book, which is very monumental, we just don't spend that much time on it. So you're right, it is just really quick at the end of the book.
I think they genuinely spend one night. I think it's literally just one night at that hotel.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Gosh. Well, I think you're right. I think it is about that, because they're not there for any necessary like period of time.
It's literally just to get caught when they don't have anywhere to stay, them and a whole bunch of other people that were in the company town. And then the next day they go and continue the strike. Then they just go and sit in the fields. And they are trying to go and, sit in the fields and continue this strike.
A peaceful strike.
A peaceful strike. They're not tearing anything up. They're not, they're just being like, look, we're not picking this cotton until you're actually going to pay us a living wage where we can have a shot at, earning something.
Right.
And so they're not letting them in. They've brought in peace officers, law enforcement, and they're blocking them. They've brought out rifles and, you know, batons, bully clubs.
It's very
like,
bullying.
Very like prison
very
guard
threatening.
type stuff.
Yes. Very threatening and aggressive.
And so the strikers are kind of wavering, and Jack gets knocked off. I think he's on a truck. Yes, because that's where else goes.
Yeah,
so
because they're up to where they can speak to people.
They're up to where they can speak. He's got a megaphone. They knock him off. They've got him down, and Elle steps up to say, hey, like, we're continuing this. Just because you knock one of us down doesn't mean we're going to stay down. And she has, like, everyone in the camp knows her. Everyone in the town knows her, and the company town knows her. They trust
she's
her.
Grown
they respect
to such,
her.
Yes. She's such
just
this huge character.
She's a cornerstone of this community because she's so resilient, and because she helps out, and because she's
strong and she's kind.
Much.
And
And she's not a revolutionary. She's an ordinary person. And so she gets up and is like, no, this is wrong. She finds her voice. And then what happens?
I know, this is just so mean, but this is Kristin Hannah's style.
If I ever meet Kristin Hannah,
you're like, why? She just found love. She just
personally.
Yeah, like she just blossomed. She just found love.
Yes.
Like, to me, everything was like, I don't know, for a minute, you thought that maybe things were going to shift.
A literal minute.
For a literal
minute. That's how long it took me to read that part.
I feel like I read it twice because I was like that. I was like,
no.
Wait, what? This cannot be happening.
Yes. So she wakes up in the hospital. They're like, she can tell like her family's already grieving. She's dying. So we have the scene where she's, you know,
breaks your heart.
Asking Jack to send her kids back to Texas with her. And I'm like, how's Anthony going to survive back in Texas?
I know.
Is the Dust Bowl over? Like, what's happening? And again, I was like, woman, you just met this guy. Like,
I know.
You're sending him like,
there's a lot of trust. Yeah.
Yes. But like, okay, it moved too fast for me.
Yeah.
I appreciated the content and what happened. And like, don't get me wrong, it was very realistic. And I was like, yes, they absolutely would have shot her. Like, bro, they still shoot her today. Like, that's how people are treated when they try to demand better. Like, that's just how it goes. But I felt like maybe we could have had that much of the book be happiness, you know, and not that
maybe
much
a little longer
of the book. But I will say, the other part that made me just like ugly cry. So the book fast forwards 4 years. Lolo's back in Texas, Aunt's back in Texas, the Dust Bowl's over.
With the anchor, which was the grandparents, their adopted grandparents.
Yes. So they are home, and Lolo is talking with Rosa, Elsa's mom, her real mom. And she's like, I was such a tool. I was so mean. I was cruel to her in so many ways. And Rosa's like, she was like, I feel like I didn't have enough time where I was like fully aware of what reality was. And I didn't get to bond with her in the way that I know I would have, because she was such an amazing person. And she's like, and at this point she's going to college. She's very, like full circle. Like Rafe was going to go to college, and that got waylaid because of, you know, the shotgun wedding and everything. But now Lolo's going to college. She's leaving Texas, and she's like, I feel like I'm leaving my mom.
Yes. And
oh God, I'm getting choked up. But Rosa has her, she was like, she can hear you. Go tell her this yourself. And so she goes graveside and tells her all these things. And then at the end of the book, she goes to college. And I'm just like, oh.
Back to California. Where she always dreamed of going, you know. But it is an amazing journey. And I think that's a good point to bring out. You know, the story is one thing, but then you're also looking for that particular balance. And I will agree, I feel like you make me see things sometimes that maybe I didn't even really think of at the end, but it was kind of like that when you got to the end of the book, and you're kind of, you know, really reading it fast as well. But I feel like there is always a balance between how much time are you going to spend with laying the groundwork, building the characters, making us understand who they are and why they are where they are, and making decisions and things like that. And so the majority of the book is when they're still here in Texas, it seems like.
Yep.
And then the next biggest part is the journey and the traveling and the showing up in the camp. And then that piece is very, very, very small at the end. And so maybe you would want a little bit more. And I think that's what hit me really hard was you felt like she finally found some happiness. Granted, it was really fast.
Yes.
But
sometimes it happens that way.
But she did actually find happiness. And so you're like, oh my gosh, like you're feeling, like, something actually good is now happening for Elsa. And then they rip it away from you immediately.
Oh.
And so it really just, that book really, I don't know. I got really drawn into the character.
Yes.
You're going through challenge after challenge after challenge, and then they just kind of rip you up, spit you out, and then they just kind of leave you crying in a crumpled little heap.
Yes.
But would you recommend the book to anybody else?
Yes, I would. I would recommend it. I would say that it's very informative. It's very well written. I love the characters. Like I said, the only critique is just how fast it goes. Like I felt like the emotional payoff as far as like the love story between her and Jack, I didn't really feel it as much as I would have had it been
had more time. Allowed.
Maybe
that relationship to even develop.
If they'd met him whenever they first moved into the camp.
Yeah.
And had the time to develop. But anyway, apart from that, mild critique. But very invested in the characters, the part with the grandparents, and the fact that she never saw them again.
I know, she never saw them again.
I hated that.
And I was really shocked that she wanted the kids to go back, like after all of that. But I think that, obviously, what were they going to do there, right? So that was the option. But again, when the grandparents stay and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it, she's leaving them behind. What you don't realize is that they are the anchor, and they've been writing the whole time. And so it does allow them to have something to go back to. If they hadn't gone, then what? You know, so for the story to even, have resolution, I guess, what we just didn't realize was the resolution was taking Elsa out, which was very painful.
It was so cruel. I remember texting you and being like, I swear, Michelle, if what happens that I think is going to happen, I'm going to come to your house right now. Forget me.
So I'm like locking the door because I know she's coming. But it was a pretty heavy book. It was a good ride. And
it was very good.
Yeah. So a good book. Definitely it sucks you in. You have true visceral reactions and emotions, which is a good book.
Yes.
And then, they didn't give us the ending maybe that we would have wanted. But sometimes I think it's kind of that twist in the story sometimes that really kind of makes it even more memorable.
And it wasn't even like a gotcha,
no, it wasn't
twist. It was just like, this happened and that happened in that time period. So, 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
4 out of 5. I would recommend it. I may even read it again sometime when I want to really good.
I think I gave it 4.5. So we're
on par.
Yeah, we're on par with each other. Very good. So my favorite part. So of course we're full on summer, even though you can barely tell with all the rain and everything that we've been having. But our summer focus will be adaptations, and that is my absolute favorite.
Yes.
So we'll come back. Things to think about. Do you like to read it first, then watch it, or watch it, then read it?
Excellent question.
Are there any standouts? I know I just finished one, and so then it's definite critique about the differences between the book and the adaptation. So I'm super excited to talk about that.
I am too. Oh, I'm so excited. There's a couple that I really hope we talk about, but we'll discuss and see how we're gonna run it.
Yeah, so bring it forth.
But that's it for now. This is Em and Bug, episode 3. Can't wait to see you for episode 4. And love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.